Alright guys, so I have filmed this video and it did not work. So we're going to try this again. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Hello if you're new. My name is Andrea Johnson. I'm your mystical muse, your manifestation mind, your soul's inspiration. So let's dive into today's topic. Today I want to discuss my top relationship red flags. And when I talk about this, guys, I'm going to talk about it from a perspective of my own experiences in relationships, not just one, but across to my soul's evolution of relationships to help you guys in attracting your ideal partner, or what to watch out for so you can avoid the same pain points that I had. And also guys, when I talk about this, I want you to understand that I'm going to talk about it from two different perspectives of one of the other person and red flags within yourself. Because yes, when you feel red flags, that indicates something about you as well. So we're going to dive into that. The first red flag is the instant attraction to the person. And what I mean by this is your instant attraction to them and their instant attraction to you. So I look at this as two different things. The first one of them falling head over heels for you quick. So this is going to be like the person that falls in love with you after the first date. This is a huge red flag because essentially what is happening, guys, they're finding purpose in the relationship rather than themselves, right? So when people fall in love quickly, they are basically getting a dopamine hit and they find purpose in relationships than in their own life, than within themselves. So this will be the person that probably can never stay single. They'll jump from relationship to the relationship because it's emotionally fulfilling to them because they cannot provide that same emotion for themselves, right? Now, the other aspect of what I was talking about of you feeling like a sense of excitement or a draw or a magnetic feeling towards another person, this essentially is what we want to call a trauma bond or an emotional attachment that you might have towards that person. Your energy is magnetized, like you both are basically drawn to one another, and it's because the energies are in your field. You're attracted to this person probably from some kind of subconscious energy or belief that you have that they're providing for you. So for example, you might have grown up and had like a controlling mother, and in your relationships you keep attracting partners who are very controlling, right? So you might not understand why you do this, but you do it subconsciously because the controlling aspect that your mother gave you or was when you were a child, it feels very familiar to you. So the body is used to that type of energy, so it will seek out that familiarity and try to recreate that in your life until you consciously choose differently to not have said controlling partners. Will you keep attracting said controlling partners? So this is where you want to pay attention to how you feel. Do you feel like a sense of drawn magnetism, excitement, butterflies in the stomach? Things like that is not love, even though love is chemicals being released. It's a trauma bond, and eventually, you know, we want to say this is where we learn the lessons in our relationship, but we want to learn our lesson and not repeat the process. So the next red flag is if you don't feel like the relationship is adding value to you. So I know, guys, we say all the time that we fall in love, but I truly believe that love is elevating. Love is supposed to elevate us in our energy, and we are supposed to build one another up and add value to one another. I do believe that the relationship needs something more than just love, because the honeymoon phase is going to fade, right? Love is chemicals being released. Eventually those chemicals will fade unless you keep it quote unquote spicy in the relationship or spice it up, right? So you need to add value to one another in different ways. Like, what is the purpose of the relationship? And we can change the way we even see relationships. You know, I really think we are, as humans, consciously expanding the way we see relationships as tools to not just help us mirror back energies to one another, but tools to help us achieve what we want to achieve, or, you know, help us be something in life, help our soul's mission per se. So where do you think that this person can add value to you? What can you learn from them? And where can you provide that for them as well too? You need to ultimately be a team and a unit, because when you're off doing your thing and he's off doing his thing and there's no like meet in the middle, there's no purpose to it, then you have to ask yourself, like, what the heck am I doing here? You know, like, what is this relationship providing? And guys, it could be a simple purpose. It doesn't have to be something grand and amazing like starting a business together and making millions together. together. It could be just raising kids. People find purpose in raising a family together. They're a team. Or people find purpose as well too of like supporting one another in their purpose. So you can think of this as like the male being the breadwinner, going out doing his thing, and he feels very fulfilled in his mission, his work, whatever. And the woman stays at home, feels very fulfilled being the homemaker, raising the kids, loves that nurturing feeling, loves to provide in that way for the husband, right? So therefore both parties feel fulfilled and they're adding a sense of value to one another. It can be as simple as that. Which this leads me to my next point of, if the person that you are seeing doesn't have a purpose. So essentially, if you ask somebody like, what are you passionate about? Like, what do you want to do with your life? You know, things like that. What is your life vision? If they cannot give you that, then that's a red flag that people usually look for fulfillment within the relationship. So this kind of like goes back to, you know, red flag number one of the person can't provide an energy within themselves and finds it through relationships. This person is going to rely on you to provide a sense of fulfillment or worthiness or their happiness. And that's going to be hell for you, especially, and this is for all of my people pleasers out there, if you are not authentic in your nature when you first meet that person. So you have changed yourself to be accepted or for that person to love you, and that person is looking to you for emotional fulfillment, and it's going to create this bond, right? This where you're stuck being something for this other person to provide an energy, and you're not going to be able to stray from it. Otherwise, the person's not going to be happy. Or you're going to be stuck in this loop of trying to make this person happy for the rest of your life and then relying on you to provide that for them. And that will be very stressful for you, because ultimately we know true happiness cannot be from external factors, even though it can, but it's fleeting. External factors are fleeting. If the person cannot develop a sense of self or happiness within them, then that is a huge red flag that's going to drive you absolutely crazy or wear your energy down eventually. So they have to really be okay with themselves before they can be okay in a relationship. And the same thing goes for you. My next red flag is wanting the person to change. If you want that person to change, or you enter into the relationship and there's something that you don't like and you think down the road that, oh, well, they'll change for me as soon as like they fall in love or we're together for a bit and things will change. No, honey. No, if you're not okay with something in the relationship up front, do not expect the other person to change. Change is extremely hard for any sort of human to go through, especially if somebody has been a certain way or has habits that they've had for years. And there will be a certain age in which it's almost completely impossible for the person to get rid of habits or their way of being without external help, and a lot of external help. And I'm talking like therapy, energy work, you know, things of that nature. And they have to want to change, guys. And not a lot of humans want to change unless the universe forces them to change through trauma, disease, some kind of external forces, so may be, to cause said change on the inside. So what you need to do is understand what you can accept, what you can't accept, and what you're okay with in a relationship. Write it down, make a list, and hold the boundaries, right? Communicate it to that other person, because they're going to have to meet you halfway on, okay, I can meet those things or I can't meet those things. And then it's up to you to either hold the boundary, or if you cannot, you know, tolerate whatever it is that they're not changing, you have to walk away, right? Otherwise, you're going to be caught in a constant loop of hoping that other person changes eventually. And maybe they say that they will, but they don't, because actions speak louder than words. They're going to keep repeating this cycle of, I'll change, I'll be better, whatever. And they might for a little bit, and then they'll revert back. And you're going to either, one, walk away, or two, hope that they change the next time around. But the cycle is going to repeat, right? Because you're stuck on the idea of what you want the relationship to be, or what you would hope that person to be, instead of what it actually is, right? So you're holding on to hope, and that's a deadly cycle to be in, because it's a very slim chance that the hope will come through. The only way I truly believe it will is if something rocks that person's world hard enough to make them change. That's about it. Otherwise, it's up to you, honey, to either walk away or be okay with it. You have to either change the way that you think, act, or feel around whatever it is you want that person to change, or who it is you want them to be, right? Either you have to be okay with it, or you have to go find your said new person. My last red flag, guys, is the fear of communication. If you find it hard to express yourself and communicate how it is that you feel or what you desire in a relationship, it's not going to work, guys. Relationships have got to have communication. I don't care who you are. If you don't communicate how it is that you're feeling, or your needs and your desires or your wants, or just like even in general things that are bothering you to work on together, if there is no conscious communication between you both, if you don't like to be uncomfortable in the conversations, you're not going to evolve very well together. It's going to be very hard to do or to grow together, because you're going to be constantly triggering one another, and this is where people suppress a lot of emotions because they don't feel safe enough to express them, and making the other person mad, or fear of conflict or things like that. So you just suppress everything. This is so horrible for your throat chakra, guys. It will cause health issues. It will cause a lot of autoimmune disease, things like that. When you're not expressing your soul's true authentic nature, your self-expression, your communication, the throat chakra, it's going to cause a lot of issues. The relationship will not work, and it takes two people in communication to make it work. I call it conscious communication, because essentially for any relationship to work, guys, both parties have to be conscious. Both parties almost have to do a form of shadow work with each other that you would do with yourself. Because if you cannot hold space with yourself around something, how are you supposed to do it with another, right? So it's a sense of like self-judgment. If you're judging yourself, you're ultimately going to be judging another person. So you both have to come together, communicate needs, wants, desires, or things that you're feeling, or things that you would like to, see improved. And you have to both look at it from a perspective of non-judgment, and just understand that each and every single one of us is human. We all have these emotions, we all have these thoughts, we all have things going on inside of us that we need to speak about, and that can be approved upon in relationships, right? And it takes effort to help one another achieve that, right? You build one another up, rather than if you speak, an unconscious relationship, maybe you don't see anything at all and you suppress it, or you finally speak your truth and it triggers somebody, right? Rather than them seeing it from a logical standpoint, kind of not suppressing emotions, but being aware of whatever emotions come up, and then being able to process them and then make a logical decision rather than just reacting, right? This is what should be happening in relationships. But I think eventually humans will get there. And even the way that we see relationships, guys, it's evolving every single day. Even the way we see marriage, rather than it being a contract, essentially, for more of like safety and security type of thing. I think that marriage will one day go out the window, and it's more of like, how can we add value to one another in the relationship? How can we grow together? What purpose can we fulfill together, where we're better together, and the world like is a better place because we are together? And eventually, like, if we need to part one day because the world is taking us in different directions, we're actually able to do that from a place of not being hurt, but rather than just seeing like we're going on different paths in life, different wavelengths, different energies, and that's okay. The relationship serves its purpose for the moment or the time, and then you part, and then the new relationships are attracted that you're supposed to be elevated to, right? Because all relationships are tools for us. They are tools to help expand our consciousness, learn more about ourselves, and to evolve as human beings. Relationships are our greatest teachers, honestly. Anyways, guys, I hope this video helped you out. Ultimately, guys, every single relationship will probably have all these red flags. I've not had one relationship that didn't have every single red flag. It is just the nature of it. And ultimately, it's just being conscious. It's both parties being conscious and wanting it to work. Guys, if both parties are conscious and both parties want the relationship to work, it will work. It can work, but it takes two people to do it, and it takes two people honoring one another to do it. That is the only way to make relationships last, okay? It's not easy. No relationship will be easy, even if you attract your soulmate. I think that when people find their soulmate, either one, they're already really good with relationship skills and they're able to like build one another and navigate through problems, or two, it's just social conditioning of like people marry and they're like, nope, that's it, we're not divorcing, whatever, it's like religion type thing. Or three, you go through multiple relationships, learning your likes, your dislikes, you know, learning how to build relationship skills, and then eventually you meet your soulmate, but you're able to work with them because you've built the skills and the knowledge and probably went through enough pain and heartbreak to not want to repeat the process, right? But that's where the true wisdom comes in, guys. That's where you understand that no relationship isn't without cause, because it's helping you become the person you need to be in order to sustain a healthy relationship, right? To meet your soulmate, per se, in other words. So that is where all relationships, I truly feel, are beautiful, and you always attract the relationship you feel you are worthy of. It says everything that you need to know about yourself, of what you allow and what you don't allow in your life. So anyway, hopefully this video helped you guys. Sorry if it felt like I sped through it, but this is like my third time filming this video because my microphone is not working. Sending you all of my light and all my love, and I pray to God that this thing recorded. Satnam.